Hi everyone, it's me Jo. Today I'm giving you a boy to girl vlog tutorial. Everyone's been asking me to put back online all my boy to girl tutorials that were so popular when I started my YouTube. I wanted to go into detail about how you can make a male face look like a girl face, and I kind of went Cheryl Cole inspired with it, and I've got brown hair, which I never really wear. I think I'm going to try wearing this out today. We'll see what it is. I need to change my outfit because I'm not going out in this. But I also have a makeup gig to do, which is why I'm panicking now at the moment. So I'm going off to London in a minute to do a campaign, which will be really fun. I've got my kit in the background. So wish me luck with that today. If you have any questions or you want to book me as a makeup artist, give me an email at joseph@josephharwood.com. It'd be a pleasure to work with all you guys, and I always answer your questions. Otherwise, find me on Facebook at www.facebook.com/josephharwooduk. or on Twitter at Joseph Harwood, or on Instagram at Joseph Harwood. Alright guys, well please enjoy the video. It was really fun to do this morning, and I think I am going to keep this. It's going to go blonde. Let's go brunette. I might give it a little bit of a whoosh wave, but yeah. Alright guys, thank you so much and enjoy. So this is what I look like before, and this is just me, and I actually have to do a lot of work to look boyish. Because I've got quite a soft face anyway, I'm kind of very ambiguous looking naturally, so I use a little bit of makeup to make me look boyish. So I'll start off with a freshly shaved face, and we can go from there. So here we go. I've got a freshly shaven face to start with, and I think that's the best way to go in. Now, if you are doing a boy to girl look, or vice versa, the biggest thing we can talk about is skin. Men's skin is thicker because of the testosterone. It's also a different kind of texture because we constantly exfoliate our face shaving. So the big points that we need to look out for are the chin and this kind of area down here. I'm a skincare junkie. I use a lot of stuff like Heal Gel is one of my favourite brands for, it's amazing for after shaving because it's got arnica in, and I talk about this brand all the time. They're insane. I'll put a link below. Now, the secondary thing we need to look out for is actually covering beard shadow, and on camera you can't see it, but I can see it in real life. Because we don't want to look like we're in stage makeup, we don't want to go to the drag extent, we want to look very pretty for the day, but you still need to cover the shit up because it won't work. Otherwise you won't create that complete look if your shadow shines through, and you cannot achieve that with just girl foundation on its own. You have to be very, very tactical and strategic about it. Next are eyebrows groomed. I keep my eyebrows pretty natural. I don't do much to them anymore. I had no eyebrows for several years and I drew them on every day, but now I've grown them back because it's just easier to wake up like that. If you are unsure what to do with your eyebrows, go and get an esthetician or a beautician to actually find out and do your eyebrows. Threading really hurts, by the way. It hurts way more on men than it does on girls. I just want to warn you guys, that's not just like a pain reaction thing, it's to do with the hairs. Be careful with your threading. So my eyebrows are quite tall, which is very effeminizing because when people get FFS surgery, a lot of the times they get the brow bone reduced here, which lifts the brow back a little bit and opens the eye. Most brows are kind of overhanging on guys like this. So if you're doing this for a specific look, then cover eyebrows up and draw them on later. And again, I have a tutorial all about that. First step is using a primer. Now I'm using Face and Body as a primer because it's kind of waterproof, very sheer foundation that you'd use on perfect girl skin. But the reality is, if you use this in a small layer underneath your foundation, then it doubles up without looking that cakiness. It's a really great product to use in this way actually, and it's a secret that I found out just experimenting with it. Because most people just use this on its own or on the body, but it's actually brilliant as a primer if you want to get a thick coverage without looking thick. I'm using N3 because I think it's so sheer you need to add a little bit of colour for it to show. Next I'm going to go in with under eye concealer. Now we start off by colour correcting. Colour correcting is like when you tone hair. So if you've got blonde hair and it goes bright yellow, you put a purple on it inside the product to actually make it look more grey or white. So it's more of that lovely blonde colour instead of like a bright yellow. The same with the under eyes. Our under eyes are kind of grey because of the blue of the blood showing through. So the way we counteract that is with a salmony colour concealer. So I use Dermacolour concealers and I buy the refills. They're £4. Which is what, $6? So if you need that, I'll put a link to get them in the description below. And the colour I like to use is D2W, and it's kind of peachy but not too bright. So for my skin tone, that's more ideal. Now I just literally apply that in that area. We don't want to take it all the way up to the under eye. We just need it to be. Next, let's talk about foundations. I have pretty combination skin, but I've got overall pretty good skin, so I use foundations that just do what they do for me. This foundation is Studio Fix. It's not the most ideal foundation for everyone because it can look quite cakey on girls, but on guys it looks quite velvety because it dries to a matte finish. It's like a semi-matte finish because it's got a little bit of clay in it which absorbs the oil in the skin. I like it, but if you have really, really dry skin, I would mix it with the face and body so it becomes a little bit more, not moisturising necessarily, but a little bit more slick. So I'm using NW15 today, and that's where we're going to start. I'm then going to be grabbing this lipstick, which is by Lime Crime, and it's called Cosmopop. Cosmopop is a salmony orange colour, and with the same way we just talked about our under eyes, we're going to use that in the beard area. Now I get through there. If you're more tanner than me, then there's a darker orange that's more bright, which is much better for colour correction on darker skin tones, but I think this one looks a little bit more flattering. So just go in, I'm just going to go in with my sponge, and I'm just going to pat this through because it's quite a creamy product and it's a lipstick, so. Okay. So now we're going to go in with our foundation. So I'm just going to grab the foundation and just paint it in over the top. So this is the Studio Fix. As you can see, I'm starting off over the chin area because that's the area I want to focus on the most. And then we're just going to go all the way around the face. I'm using more than I would use on a girl by far because you need it. It doesn't spread. Once it spreads, it goes thin, and it doesn't work on male skin, especially male skin with freckles, because you can see the pigment of the makeup shine over the freckles, very much like if you were going to paint a wall with a print, and the first time you paint a wall with a print you can see the brush stroke. Because we're going into the neck and we want to kind of blend it into the neck, feel free to wipe it, but that's kind of when it gets a little bit sheerer. But if we pat it and stipple, that's when it gets thicker. So as you can see, this is blended out now, and with the areas around the hairline, just use your finger and then go in and pat to keep it seamless. Always go on the ears and go from the back of the ear down, because that's an area that everyone misses, hence why you get those orange cakey girls on the bus. Not that I really go on the bus necessarily anymore, but you know. Now, if you feel like there's too much, then just keep blending it, and a trick with makeup is you can actually dilute it with a moisturiser. So if you think this is too heavy for you, then just mix in a little bit of moisturiser with your foundation and that will take it off a little bit. So now let's do a little bit of contour work. We don't want to go full crazy, but I'm going to be using NW35, which as you can see is a little bit darker than the foundation we've used. It's kind of a couple of shades, I would say, darker, more of an olivey skin. We're using this to shadow in the features. So I always take it round the sides of the temples because male hairlines are square, and we want to use tricks like this to make it look rounder. It also reduces a larger forehead if you're worried about the size of your forehead, but everyone has different size foreheads. Foreheads are the same whether you're a boy or a girl. I go down, and I don't do this to make the face more girly, because there's no reason why women don't have cheekbones. This just dramatises the cheekbones. But if you're going to use a contour, it's traditional to see it with a cheek contour, and if you just had your temples on, it would look a little bit strange. I mean, if you have got a very big face, this does make your cheekbones stand out more, but I think really it just completes the effect of the contour rather than does something, because it doesn't really look like you have cheekbones, I don't think. So once we have that blended out, you shouldn't be able to see a harsh line, you should just see a soft halo effect. And because we've kind of added colour to the face, don't forget our arms. We don't want to look darker than our arms if we're going to wear something like a top that shows this off, or your chest. Mix a little bit of that colour in with a moisturiser and apply it as a body lotion, and it will give you a little bit of colour and make you look consistent in photos. So when we talk about contouring the features, because we haven't really done any specific work, to make it look natural, we have to use a product that's naturally coloured, and you don't want to use something that's the same colour as that. That's kind of like a bronzy way of contouring. We want to use something to actually make the nose or whatever we're contouring look almost like it's a shadow. So I use this product by Unsharp called Hollow, and it's a cream pigment, and it's very, very, very skin tone, but with grey in. So this colour looks like the shadows in my face, so it's not too harsh, it just looks nice. And it's an easy product to go in with. I'm grabbing the brush I just used to apply that, and really what I'm doing is I'm starting from just under the eyebrow, and I'm going down, kind of taking it quite far in the nose. As you can see, it looks like this. So we're taking that down either side of the nose. So with a nose contour, I try and keep it very, very close together. So the line that we've left in the middle is the line that we'll see at the end. And as you can see, I've kept the lines quite straight on both sides. Then I just take it a little bit around the sides of the nostrils here. If you blend it really, really, really well, you should actually be able to tell either which is great. So we can use that in the cheekbone, we can go around the contours of the forehead a little bit, but again, I wouldn't go too harsh in with your contouring, because one of the things that people definitely notice in a face as someone transitions is the amount of fat increases in the face. Male faces have a lot more shadow and kind of protrusive bones in the face, whereas women don't. So when women contour, you're giving them cheekbones because they have a different fat distribution in the face. With drag makeup, they use a lot of contour work because it changes where their features are, but they still, at the end of the result, look very theatrical. It doesn't necessarily look like a soft face. So if you don't have a soft face, I wouldn't add more shadows into it with contour. Just keep it soft, as I've done with the deeper colour around the outside. Noses are one of the painful features that you can't obviously, they're harder to change than the cheekbone. So what I do is I try and just use this, but go with your nose. Everyone has different noses, from Erin O'Connor to Jennifer Lawrence. Everyone has different shape, and that doesn't make it more masculine necessarily, it just makes it more of a feature. But this way, it's a foolproof way to make the nose look more straight and thinner. So to complete the contour effect, I use under eye highlighting in a very selective way. I'm actually going to grab a clicky highlighter pen, and I use Face and Body Prep and Prime in Radiant Rose. That's simply because it's so pale that it's pale enough for me, and it's thicker than things like Touche Eclat, which I love for different things. But I particularly like this product just because it gives that brightness, and you can do a little bit of sculpting with it too, kind of like a retoucher. So if we look straight, I'll try and look straight in the camera, but I'll look this way. What I'm doing is I'm going under the eyes, and we're not bringing it all the way up, we're just bringing it in the dip in our eye. Then, like a kind of triangle, we are bringing this against the nose contour. So we should be able to see exactly where to go, because we've actually seen it, we've drawn it in with the contour. So we go down the dip here, just think of retouching, and then here we go, just up we go, like that. Then we're going to do that down the centre of the nose. If you have quite an overhanging brow bone, then feel free to continue this up and then in a circle here. I don't, and it looks a little bit more theatrical on me if I do that. So I'm just going to repeat on this side. The last step to this is just tapping the highlight into the contour line without moving either the contour or the highlight, because that's what keeps our nose looking straight. So then we just keep blending this out, and sometimes you'll think, well, it kind of took off a little bit of the colour I needed under the eye, so you can go back in with an orangey tone again, that original concealer, but I think it works great as a highlighter. So now we actually have this all set in place. The next step is powder. I use Laura Mercier's Secret Brightening Powder, but I do understand it's very, very expensive for what it is. So there are mineral makeup online, kind of like, I think, is it called Feather Light? Mineral Veil Feather Light, I think it's called. That's kind of similar. And just tap that under the eyes. What this will do, this will just set this area and it will take down that harsh kind of under eye whiteness, but still make it look very, very flattering. And it looks amazing in photos. This is what gives those celebrities that under eye effect, and without it looking bright. Then all over the rest of the face, just use your base powder. I use Dermacolor Set Powder. It sets those concealers that I used earlier, the peachy one, but it keeps makeup on all day, and I think it's really, really, really great. Now, I would try and keep the powder to the areas you're going to need the makeup to last in the most, so I would use it around the chin, and be very, 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 I look like I'm using a lot on camera because I want it to last all day on me and I know what I'm doing, but it's very easy to make this powder look chalky if you apply too much, so be liberal. Now, if you guys out there have the problem that I have, which is when you get to this point, my face looks quite flat. That's the dryness in my skin, not showing my skin to the best with the makeup on. What I then do is I use other products, but if you have oilier skin, I would use these to more touch up throughout the day. These are Shoe Mirror face powders, and they're called light bulb powders because they look almost like they give you a glow. MAC do one called Skin Finish Mineralized Natural or something. Mineralized Skin Finish Naturals, that's what they're called, which are similar things. I'm going to be using just one of these just to blend out anywhere that I think the contour looks too harsh or I might need a little bit more. So I'm going to be using a shimmery kind of metallic-y blush that's in a light rose colour, just a rose. It looks more orangey in real life than it does on camera. I'm then going to use, I'm just going to swipe that. So I'm just going to lightly swipe that from the cheek back. Now I'm going to be going in with a deep colour, a deep concealer in the same Dermacolor concealer that I used earlier, but in a deeper colour. I use this as an eyebrow base. I use it in my eyebrows, everything. It's a great product. So I'm going to start off just by pushing this up to the lashes. I would say about 3/4 of the way along. Then I take this up and along the lash line. So we're lifting the eye up like this, and don't worry about how, keep it neat, but don't worry about precise. Then I'm going to use this in kind of like the hollow of my eye, and I'm drawing it like my crease is there, so it makes my eyes look taller. This is a really important trick for making the eyes look more effeminate. So if you have very low brows, cover your brows and do this. And you kind of draw in a fake crease. Grabbing just a blending brush, this is one from my makeup line, which will be out very shortly. I'm so excited, it's going to be so good. So just make sure this stage is pretty symmetrical. Now I'm going to go in with this colour. This is kind of like a warm matte shade. I like it because matte colours are more easy to blend, for one, and they you can use different browns with different undertones to bring out your eye colour. So if you've got blue eyes, use more of an orangey colour. If you've got more brown eyes, use more of a goldy colour. Green eyes, you can use more of a purpley brown. This would look great on green eyes. I'm using a white, it's gesso, I know that one. I'm just tapping that under the brow, just to blend this out. And I'm going to add some vanilla, which is this colour. So this one's sparkly and this one's matte. I'm using the sparkly one over the top, just to give it a little bit of sheen. Just in the under eye area here. Blending brush. Just kind of stamp it out. Now I'm going to be using this colour, which is a sparkly golden colour. I'm going to be using it with my finger. So I've got it on my finger and I'm just going to push that into the eyelid. I'm using my finger because I want it to be dense and I don't want it to blend into the other colours so much. If you feel this look is too harsh, a trick you can do is go in with your face powder and just lay that on top. I'm going to be using Espresso, which is a more muted brown than I've been using. I've been using browns with a lot of warmth in, and really all I'm going to do is fill my eyebrows in. It's no trickery involved. I have a lot of tutorials on eyebrows. I've had to draw eyebrows on if you have none, so if you've covered them up and you want to create a natural brow, I've got that. I've got a strong brow and I have a natural brow. So I'm just going to quickly draw this in. So I've done a little bit of underdrawing and overdrawing to make them a little bit strong but still kind of modern. I think they look quite cute. So if you want to do a different kind of brow, I did say use my other tutorials and do your own interpretation, but this is the one I'm going to do today. Now I'm going to grab my pen eyeliner from eBay. I love it. It's amazing. And we're going to just create a flick here. And then I'm going to go in like that and then down. So really it looks like we're just kind of drawing a, is it called a rhombus? A rhombus. Next job is mascara. I'm going to be using, it's called Physicians Formula, and apparently this is now available or is available in US drugstores. I've never seen it, and I went to Paris and I thought it was some magnificent brand. Apparently it's a drugstore brand. I really like it though, and I'm just using this in my brows a little bit because I want to add some darkness to my brows and make them a little bit fluffy. So I'm going to be using top lashes and bottom lashes today. I think it will look really nice. You don't have to do this, it's just a dramatic look. And I like using bottom lashes because from the side it gives you eye projection. And I've been listening to a lot of RuPaul podcasts to go to sleep, and he was talking about that a lot, and I was listening to it last night. So I want to do lower lashes, even though I don't technically need to because I have really long lashes. I just like the lower lash today. So I'm going to be using these bottom lashes. They're wispy ones on a thin band, and I'm starting in the inner eye, making sure it feels sticky, and now for top lashes I'm using these ones. These are those ones that are crisscross. With top lashes like these, the best way to apply them is, and the best way to fit a whole lash on your eye, because you might as well use the whole lash and not waste them, is actually to cut it up into 3 sections or 2 sections. So I'm going to cut it directly in the middle, grabbing half, dipping it in my glue, then I'm going to place it right on the outer half of the eye and overlap them a little bit. So let's go in with the lips now. Now lips are pretty easy. So I'm just going to finish the eyes with a pale eyeliner just in the waterline for the day. And this is by Illamasqua and is it Val? Now for the lips, I'm actually going to go in with a chubby stick, and I'm going to be using this purple one which is called Voluptuous Violet, and it shouldn't be violet, it should come out quite pinky. Now with these going with hydrated lips, I've used steam cream on my lips. And there we go. Okay, so I've just finished off. I'm pretty happy with this. If you wanted to make your lips a little bit bigger, which I normally do my lips the fullest they can look without looking staged, but I just wanted to do natural today because I'm going to wear this in the day and add more later on, as I said. So now it's time for the wig. So I've added a wig cap, and this is just a net, and I just use this to hold my hair back. Now wigs, now here is the tea. Those nasty cross-dresser synthetic wigs are not acceptable. They just aren't. You have to be resourceful, and human hair is the only option. I'm sorry, it just is. Now, I understand human hair extensions, especially lace extensions or lace front extensions, are very expensive, but you can be crafty and you can be resourceful with them, and they make the difference. They make you look expensive. My mum always says, if you're going to stand out for any kind of way, make it look expensive, and people won't have anything to say about it. So, you can get human hair wigs without a lace in for, I would say, this kind of length, which is what? 16 or 18 inches, right? I would say it's closer to 16. You can get a human hair 16-inch wig with no lace in it for about 60 quid, I would say. 60 quid. If you look online, you can probably find one. If you're clever and you're on eBay, you can probably get one for even cheaper, I would say, closer to 35. I've got one for 35 before. So the difference between that and a lace front is a lace front has lace at the front, obviously, and you can see through it. So you can actually part it in different ways, which basically allow the hair to look like scalp. Now, I prefer wearing full lace wigs because I just throw them on top, and maybe I incorporate my own hair in them sometimes. I've got a few tutorials on here how to do that, and I'm not a wig expert, I'm just telling you what I do. But these are really the only way you can kind of get away with using wigs in the... So let's go back to our cheaper wig. Now, what I've done is, because I actually got sent this wig from a company and I thought it was hideous, it had bangs on. I cut a U shape out the front and I bought a closure. Now, a closure is a lace. It's exactly the same as the lace you find on the front of the wigs, but it's basically used to sew over a weave. So when you have a full head of braids, you actually finish a weave off with a frontal, which goes around the front like a lace front, or a closure that sits on top. So all this section here is partable. So I've just bought a closure for like 20 quid, and I got a wig for, I would say you can find one for about 60. That's £80 for a lace front wig, and I just sewed them together. So there's no excuse really. If you wanted to wear human hair, you can. And this is really short, and this is a work in progress, this wig, because I'm going to make it into either a bob, or I'm going to make it into a very, very long weave to wear curly. So I'm going to buy some extensions, and you can get a bundle of hair this colour, I would say, 24 inches for about 60 quid. So you can actually get a human hair wig that's what, 24 inches? Pretty good with a lace at the front. If you can't afford to get a human hair wig, you can get a full human hair lace front and you can make it yourself. So just be resourceful out there. Don't think that because they're an expensive product that you can't get them. They're not actually that dissimilar in price to some good synthetic wigs. I think some really good synthetic wigs are pretty much the same price as that. So there you go, there's my tip. Now I'm just going to throw this one on, and I've got a side part in it, I think, and I've never actually worn this one yet. So this one is, I'm just going to comb it out, and I always comb it from the top, and I know you're like, comb it from the bottom. So... What do you guys think about me as a brunette? I don't think I can remember having brown hair as an adult. I think the last time I had brown hair I was what? Because my hair is quite light naturally, but it does have some brown in it, and I think I was like 13 when I started dyeing my hair purple. Alright everyone, well I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. It was a fun one. It kind of turned into a Cheryl Cole inspired look at the end, which was kind of by accident, I guess. I wasn't intending to do this, but hopefully that should show you some techniques to make a boy to girl transformation look wearable and real and daytime, and hopefully it should help you. Now, I'm a makeup artist. If you want any questions or bookings and so forth, please email me at joseph@josephharwood.com, my name and my name.com. That'll be the links below. And yeah, alright guys, well thank you so much for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it, and I will see you in my next video.